Hey there gamers, DreamcastGuy here, and today we're talking about Ninja Gaiden Black 2 because they just surprise launched a complete remake of one of the best action combat games that has ever been released. Now, the developers are considering this just to be a fancy remaster, but to me, it doesn't really feel like a remaster. It doesn't look like a remaster. It actually plays and definitely looks like a remake. They have reconstructed the entire game from the ground up into Unreal Engine 5. So every texture, every character model, every bloody crazy takedown, they all look and feel better. But despite that, I feel like this game has a big problem, which is the price. This is $50. You can get it on Xbox, on PS5, on PC, but that $50 price tag for what is essentially, in a lot of ways, repackaged content, it can be a bit of a hurdle. But let's talk about the goods and the bads. Hi, hope you're having a great day, and if you could, please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, the original version of Ninja Gaiden came out on the Xbox 360 in June of 2008. I still remember it. I was living in a tiny apartment with 5 roommates at the time, and we used to just basically be incredibly broke, but we would pull together our money and buy games or rent games. And I still remember beating this game originally on a tiny tube TV. It wasn't even HD. It looked terrible, but I had such a blast with it. So going through this again for the first time in almost 2 decades, I was mind blown by how much better this looks. Now, one of the weird things that happened with Ninja Gaiden 2 is that they re-released it 4 separate times. We got the original version, we got the Sigma versions, we got the Ninja Gaiden collection and stuff like that, and each of them had slightly different content. Extra characters, different costumes, extra weapons, extra bosses. So what this is it's taking all the different versions that have ever been made and packaging them together. So you're basically getting 17 main missions and optional side stuff like co-op missions where you play with an NPC companion and you can play as extra characters. But what's really cool about this game, more than anything else, is just how good it feels to play. And I gotta say, the new graphics are insane. This runs at 4K, and you can also get it to run at 120 FPS. And let me tell you, when it comes to action combat games, better frame rate definitely matters. But if you've never played Ninja Gaiden, any of them, I feel like part of what's so appealing about it is how accessible it is. I mean, you really don't have that many buttons. You have your long-range shoot button, you've got strong attack, you've got fast attack, and you've got block. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, you can hop around, yeah, you can do some combos, but a lot of it really just comes down to the feeling of the flow. We're playing as Ryu Hayabusa, a dude who's pretty much like a super ninja. This is in futuristic Japan, an era with monsters, an era with cybernetic crazy things all over the place, drones, magic dogs. And so what's always been so cool about Ninja Gaiden to me is not just how fun it is to play, but kind of just this interesting mixing of vibes. Feudal Japan with future Japan. And it's crazy to think about the fact that this game came out before cell phones existed, and yet I still feel like they managed to kind of contain that modern day essence to a great degree. I will say that it's kind of funny to replay this because when I first beat it back in 2008, it took me weeks, weeks to make it through. Just the first 12 missions took me weeks to get through because I'd never played a game that hard. Now, I'm putting hard in just quotes there because this was before I'd played Dark Souls. This was before anything like that. So when I played it, a lot of it was just kind of trying to figure out the flow of, all right, enemies hit hard, but so does Ryu. It's kind of a master of, all right, how do I parry? How do I dodge? How do I pull off a combo? How do I do a next jump strike? How do I throw some magic fire to kill an enemy that's actually doing damage to me? Getting a feel for that flow, now I feel like gamers are more adapted to the speed. Now, in this version of it, there is technically 5 different difficulties that scale from easy to normal to hard to impossible very hard, but they also put in apparently a super ultra easy mode. Now, I didn't try this out, but I did read on the official listing there that apparently it auto revives you. So I think it basically means you can't die. I don't know why anybody would play that. I feel like even on normal difficulty, the game is accessibly hard. They give you lots of items. What's cool about Ninja Gaiden 2, I've always thought it was such a good system, it's that you have health, but in between fights, it automatically restores. But your max health gets lowered as you keep getting hit. So as you're getting really, really messed up in a particular fight, as long as you manage to just barely eke out a victory, you can keep fighting. There's also checkpoints all over the place. So this is one of those games where if you're practicing, if you're focusing, if you're really kind of feeling that tempo and that rhythm, I think it's very, very easy to kind of figure it out. I mean, it's funny to play this again because a lot of the bosses that were tough for me, I never died. I beat everything on the first try. Everything is kind of a joke after putting, hundreds of hours into Elden Ring and stuff. Now we're so used to attack patterns and dodges and trying to perfectly time a potion use and stuff like that. But what's cool about this is that since I only ever played the original version of Ninja Gaiden, I'm now getting a chance to experience the Sigma content for the first time. The other versions of this had extra playable characters. Momiji, Ayane, Rachel, these are characters like specifically Ayane. I'm so bad with how pronouncing Japanese names, but she's that girl you see in Dead or Alive. You see Ryu in Dead or Alive, and you see her in Dead or Alive. So it's cool to play missions as them. They have these special like skirmish arena matches where you can basically play through tiny matches to get points and get score, and you can pick an NPC companion to play with you. Now, for whatever reason, playing this on Xbox, this kept crashing my Xbox. This is it. You can see this frozen screen. It crashed my Xbox twice trying to play this mode. I have no idea how that's happening, what's causing that to happen, but whenever it actually does get going, it is fun, but maybe wait for a performance patch on that. Hopefully it's not crashing on PC or bricking any PlayStations, but let me talk a bit more about these visuals. So they have now put in extra options for turning off the blood and dismemberment. I don't know why you would do that, but also just in general, I can tell that every texture has been entirely reconstructed. Every part of the backgrounds, every moment of shock and awe. Something I kind of miss from the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 era is raw spectacle. They weren't going for realism. They weren't trying to be immersive. They were trying to blow your mind. And times when you're like fighting against other ninjas on a bridge on the top of two skyscrapers while like helicopters are shining spotlights at you, that stuff feels good. Yeah, it's not realistic. Yeah, it's never going to happen in a million years, but it sure does look good. And here, I do feel like it looks a million times better. The primary complaint I have with this game, besides the price, yes, you should play this on Game Pass. Yes, it is on Game Pass. My big problem is that I wish they had fixed the camera controls, and I wish they had added a lock-on. This still doesn't exist. There's lock-on for shooting, but it does drive me nuts. I went through the menus. I did not see anything that would let me actually lock onto specific targets, and that feels very mandatory in that when you're doing these big fights, a lot of times you're fighting 3, 4, 5, 10 people at once, right? And so you're trying to pick targets, but there are people that are better at long range and better at close range. So there'll be snipers, there'll be mages, there's ninjas in your face. And so you have to try and take them all down, right? But what I always had the most trouble with when those random fights are happening in Ninja Gaiden is the fact that it sucks when I get a bunch of people to 1 health and they keep backing up and I can't finish them off. I wish I had a lock-on so I could actually pick targets instead of just hoping it hits the guy I want. I definitely had a lot of times where I was doing a combo, I chopped off 2 of a guy's limbs and he goes back and starts throwing magic, and I can't get to him to try and finish him off because there's another guy slightly closer to me. So whenever I press attack or throw kunai, I'm hitting that guy instead of the target that I'm definitely trying to finish off. It's a bit annoying. I think this is one of those games where you can feel that the camera is a product of its time. Overall, though, I gotta say I'm having a really, 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 really good time. I wish it wasn't $50. I wish that they had made this like $20 or 25, 30. I don't know, man. Even the gap between a $40 price tag and a $50 price tag, at this point, we know that Ninja Gaiden 4 is coming out. I almost say, as crappy as it is, as good as this remaster is, I almost say, save your money for Ninja Gaiden 4. I mean, that's going to be super awesome too, and it's only $20 more than this. But tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. Tell me what you think about Ninja Gaiden. And please, if you could, give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.